What a shame. What a shame. Actually, they did answer. Look at that. You didn't answer because you ran out of time, but everybody else did. Where are you clicking? Where are you clicking on it? You were clicking on it. Arlene's trying to play here beside me.
Google it.
And you didn't Google it. And what was the answer? Come on, tell us. Go on.
Margaret Atwood.
And you couldn't answer, could you? Wouldn't let you. Don't worry, it's fine. Look, it's fine. 4 of you actually got it wrong. You had loads of time to Google that one. That was up on the screen for ages. But 9 of you got it right. Well done. 56% of you. Here's question number 2. Tom Selleck TV show back in the 80s. Remember him with the moustache? It put moustaches and Hawaiian shirts on the map. And also Ferraris, actually. Little Ferraris. There's a little bit of trivia about that. Was it Magnum P.I.? Was it Quincy? A-Team? Miami Vice? Which was it? Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck was in 3 Men and a Baby as well. Word has it the Ferrari that he used to drive didn't actually belong to him or the studio. It was hired in Hawaii, and that car is still there. It's in a museum in Hawaii. A good friend of mine called Jojo, who's in California, and she's from Hawaii, told me that. That's how I know. Here's 3. We'll look at the board after 5 and see who's playing. If you're just joining in, there's a QR code on the bottom of the screen. Just scan that, it'll bring you straight in if you haven't already joined us tonight. 2 questions down. And some of you would have got to answer both of them. Let's see what you said. Oh, listen, 17 of you went for Magnum P.I. and nobody went, one of you went for Miami Vice. Miami Vice. Somebody who was obviously very young. It was Magnum P.I. Here's question number 3. Let's have a look and see where this is going to take us. ABBA's last number 1. Now this could be tricky. Was November 29th, 1980. What song was it? Was it The Winner Takes It All? Was it Super Trooper? Was it Name of the Game or Voulez-Vous? Now that could be tricky. That could be tricky, Arlene. Would you get that one right? Now don't answer until you...
I don't know.
You don't know. They had 2 songs in 1980. No, it couldn't be any of them. It could be 2 of them. 2 of them were hits in 1980. The rest were hits in the 70s. Let's have a look and see what you said. Winner Takes It All. 12 of you said Winner Takes It All. 5 of you thought Super Trooper. 1 of you thought Name of the Game, which was a hit in the 70s and wasn't. But the other 2 were both hits in 1980, and both reached number 1. And you'd be surprised to hear that Super Trooper was the final one. Have a look at it. Google the answer if you wish. After, not now. And you'll find that The Winner Takes It All was earlier in the year. Isn't that amazing? 2 hits in 1980. And rumour has it they were to reform. Remember they were supposed to play Glastonbury? That was supposed to happen, and apparently it didn't. Which one of them is a recluse? Which one of them is a recluse, Arlene? It's the blonde-haired girl. What was her name?
No, I don't think.
Agneta. Agneta. She was kind of reclusive.
She had a hit with Gary Barlow there a few years ago. She came back.
She had a song with him. Was it a hit? I don't know. A collaboration, we could say. The aerobics craze of the 80s. We used to do this. Was led in part by home workout videos. By which iconic actress? Which iconic actress? Start the clock. Was it Pamela Anderson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Linda Carter, or Jane Fonda? Started the craze of the workout video, VHS. It started with hers, and then it spiraled from there. Everybody was bringing them out, and then for about 15 years there was nothing but workout videos. It was just everybody was getting on the bandwagon. Linda Carter used to be Wonder Woman. Did she have a workout video? I don't know. We must Google that ourselves, actually, and see. Most of you think Jane Fonda. So, did anybody say Jamie Lee Curtis? Only one of you. She was in one of the videos we just played, doing a workout video, and some of you thought it was Wonder Woman. I don't even know if she had a workout video. Let's have a look and see what it was. It was Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda in the workout video. Most certainly was. We'll get to 15. We'll take a little break at 15, and here's question 5. Which of these Hollywood actors was not born in the 80s? which of them was not born in the 80s? Was it Chris Pratt, Tom Hiddleston, Jamie Dornan, or Elijah Wood? The answer might surprise you actually for this. Then again, it might not, but it might surprise you a little bit. So, time is up. Let's see how you scored. One of you thought Chris Pratt. 4 of you thought Tom Hiddleston. Most of you went for Elijah Wood, and I can see why. And Jamie Dornan, the man from the north of Ireland. Arlene, what would you have said?
I said Jamie Dornan, but I think now you're probably right. It's Elijah, I'd say, because he's younger. I was going.
Believe
to
it
be
or
older
not,
rather than the younger.
Elijah Wood is actually one of the oldest.
Really?
In that group. Yeah, he was born in 1981. He looks young, but he's not. He was born in 1981. Jamie Dornan was born in 1982. He's from the north of Ireland.
So he's not from the 80s either.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston was born in 1981. But Chris Pratt was born in June of 1979. He's married to one of the Schwarzeneggers.
Yeah.
He's married to Catherine Schwarzenegger.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that
That's
amazing?
the one I meant to pick.
What, Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
The answer was Chris Pratt. Only one of you got it right. One of you managed to get that right. Elijah Wood looks really young, but he's actually older than the others. Isn't that amazing? I find that amazing. Fredo. No, Fredo is this guy.
Frodo.
Fredo is him.
Lord of the Rings, isn't that right?
Yeah, but that's Fredo. That's Fredo there. Don't ever confuse Fredo with with Elijah Wood. Totally different person or thing. I like Fredo. I collect Fredos, believe it or not. After 5, we said we'd look at the board, so let's just do that and have a look. Collie and Emma, who are it's good to have you back, Collie and Emma, for the final one. Flo Joe and Dee, nice to have you, Dee. You still didn't collect your prize. I don't think Naomi collected hers actually from last week. You're supposed to go in, and the thing is, when you win the Carvery lunch for 2, will you send it? Well, I'll know if you left your email. I'll contact Darren. When he contacts you, you need to get a time to go in, because if you're going to have it in the pub, we have to have a table set up for you with a candle, something romantic, Be nice, especially if it's you two, Collie and Emma, because it could be, a special occasion. Tracy's there as well, and Broomy is back as well. I think that's Shauna, I think. And who else is there? Greg is there. Roger and Co are back playing with us tonight. Siobhan is down there, Daisy. And down at the end is Lucky Charm, who has yet to answer. I want to win with 86 points. Come on, you got to do better. Here's question number 6. Let's have a look and see where we're off to. Question number 6. Who was revealed to have shot J.R. Ewing? Now, this was back in 1980. Back in 1980. This made world headlines, believe it or not, back in 1980. This is how sad things were. Was it Sue Ellen, Jenna Wade, Lucy, or Kristen? So, Sue Ellen Ewing, Jenna Wade, Lucy Ewing, Poison Dwarf, she was called, and Kristen Shepard. Jenna Wade, wasn't that Priscilla Presley?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. What did you say? Do you even remember this now? Oh, look, it's split. Some of you thought it was Sue Ellen. Some of you thought Christian, and then it's kind of 2 answers for Lucy Ewing. Nobody thought it was Priscilla Presley. I'm glad to hear. So it is split. Sue Ellen, no, don't think so. It was the other one. It was Kristen. Do you remember Kristen in it?
I do. She was Mary Crosby. Bing Crosby's daughter that played the part.
Yeah. Oh, was she his daughter?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I suppose it's 40 years ago when you think about it. He died in 1977, so it was only 3 years. He actually died the same year as Elvis.
Yeah.
He Bing Crosby playing golf in Spain. Yeah, he finished the round of golf, thankfully, or they would have asked for their money back. And he said that was a good round of golf, and promptly dropped dead. Now that's how you go. If you're going to go that way. That's the way to. Isn't that the way to go? Isn't it, Arlene?
Yeah.
Yep. Never mind. The character Gordon Shumway was better known as whom? Gordon Shumway. Was it Alf, MacGyver, Crockett, or Wurzel Gummidge? The character Gordon Shumway was better known as somebody. I've got some notes on this, and I've actually highlighted them tonight to make it easier for myself. Because, and even after highlighting the damn things, I still can't see. Oh, can I see it? I can't see it. Okay. Let's see what you said. Well, you're nearly all going for Wurzel Gummidge. That was John Pertwee. John Pertwee. I wish I could find my notes on this, Arlene. I had some notes on this thing.
I was talking to the dry cleaning man there. What's the story?
You were talking to our dry cleaning man. Calls on a Thursday. He insists on calling on a Thursday. We've never had anything for him since lockdown, because I used to get my suits cleaned. You know, my suits, my trousers and things. And I haven't been out of the house in 3 months, and he still insists on calling. Did we have anything for him this week, Arlene? No. He must hate us now. But he is the guy responsible for the Little Johns, by the way. I know Lisa was on the bingo this week. I'm going to get some more Little Johns made. And Niall, our dry cleaning man, his wife is the lady who stitches them when I get them printed. See, small world. I can't see what it was. I had some information on this, but I've lost it. I can't see it now. Anyways, Alf, Gordon Shumway was better known as Alf. He was a little alien, little kind of a furry guy in the 1980s.
I remember Alf.
Do you remember him?
Yeah, he was very cute.
He was cute, cuddly. Crockett was out of Miami Vice. Crockett and Tubbs. And MacGyver, obviously it was MacGyver. So the answer was Alf. There you go. Now, 80s supermodels. Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell lip-synced which George Michael song? I actually tried to guess the answer to this before I researched it and looked at the answer, and I got it wrong. And it was none of the ones listed. Freedom, Faith, Father Figure, Everything She Wants. What song was it? That is question number 8. Now, I should have something here. 1989. And the song was released in 1990. So that probably gives you a clue. And most of you saying Freedom. Well done. I didn't think it was Freedom. Did you know it was Freedom, Arlene?
I did. I remember the video.
Oh, I remember the video, but I didn't.
All the supermodels were in it.
Well, I can tell you who they were. There was one called Tatiana Patis. I don't ask. There was Christy Turlington, Naomi Campbell, and Cindy Crawford. They were the main supermodels back in 1990. And do you know who termed the word supermodel? Do you know where that came from? It came from Janice Dickinson. Janice Dickinson coined the phrase.
Former supermodel herself.
And she was in The Jungle. She was in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Janice Dickinson. And she went on to do some celebrity TV and reality TV since. But she coined the phrase supermodel because of the demands that were made by certain models. And I have another question about them, which I'll put in a bit later. And it's linked. But I just thought I'd keep them as separate questions because it's a good one, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Here's question 9. Question 9. Frying a zigzag pattern into your hair with a specially designed hair iron is known as what? Well, in the 80s it was known as what? Was it frizzing? Was it crimping? Was it hair sizzling? Or was it a perm?
I think most of the ladies will get this.
Most of the ladies will get this. When Arlene met me, I had a
perm.
I was an experiment back in the 80s for my sister who was doing hairdressing. And she said, come here, I'm going to do your hair. And she turned me into Yogi Bear. And she did. Arlene will testify to that. 89% of you, you did know it was crimping. Crimping. Do they still do that, Arlene?
I think so.
With a hair iron. Crimping. But yeah, it was kind of a zigzag pattern, very popular in the 80s. If you're too young to remember, you missed out.
You could do it yourself. If you
could do
didn't
it yourself,
have,
yeah.
A machine or an iron, you could just do little plaits in your hair, go to bed, and the next morning take them out and you'd have crimped hair.
You'd have crimped hair. Yeah.
Or frizz.
It's counting down. This is question 10. Who voices Gizmo in Gremlins? Tim Curry, Howie Mandel, Robin Williams, Tom Kenny. I was counting down, but you saw the question. You knew the timer was coming up for you, so you had plenty of time to get in there. Who voices it? 4 of you thought Tim Curry. He was Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Howie Mandel is one of the judges of... is he on American Idol or America's Got Talent?
No, America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. Howie Mandel, who refused all the time to shake hands back in the days when people used to shake hands. You know, when it wasn't because of lockdown. 3 of you thought Robin Williams, who voiced so many characters back in the 80s. And Tom Kenny. 1 of you said him. Do you know who Tom Kenny voiced, Arlene?
No.
Go on. No?
Gizmo.
No. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Tom Kenny.
Gosh.
I just thought I'd put him in, just for the sake of it. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Howie Mandel. Yeah, Howie Mandel voices Gizmo and Gremlins, imagine. But 11 of you knew that. You're better at this than I thought. You really are. You're better at this. This is the ultimate 80s questions, because I really went to town on these. D, you're catching up. Greg is there. Where's Connolly and Ella? They're down to 7, I think. And Flojo is up into first place with 10 questions down. Has anybody else joined me? No, Lucky Charm is still down there, but is finally answering, thank goodness. And Charlie's there as well. Hiya, Charlie. Charlie answered a bit faster. Tracy's up to 4th. Yvonne is in 5th. Charlie came in a bit later. Charlie on her own tonight. Zoe and Colleen and Emma down to 7th. You need to speed up a bit, catch up. But you can see why I'm going out with a bang tonight, because 20 of you on the 23 now actually logged in since, but it's still just getting to the stage where the numbers are dropping since the pub reopened, and it just, I don't want it to fizzle out. I want it to finish on a high. We'll concentrate on the bingo on a Tuesday, which is going really well. We'll introduce maybe a quiz session into that as well, and then we'll bring it back in the autumn if the pubs restart. Phase 2 being pushed back to the middle of August 10th. I don't even think it'll happen on August 10th. I think we're looking at September before anything starts to happen again, at the very soonest, and even at that, it's fingers crossed. So that's the board. Let's crack on with 11. Here's 11. Zeus. Which boots, known for their air-cushioned soles, were worn by punks and goths in the 1980s. They were also worn by people who were into ska. They wore them as well, I think. I do remember some of them wearing them. Doc Martens, Vans, Converse, Buster Browns, all big in the 80s. All of them were. Converse especially were big in the 80s, actually. But you all knew, all 20 of you knew it was Doc Martens. Doc Martens were orthopedic boots, but they became extremely popular, and you can still get them. You can still buy them.
Workmen, weren't they? That was the main
orthopedic boots, weren't they?
Working in outdoor work.
Well, I think they were Dr. Martens orthopedic boots. When I googled them, that's what they were made as initially. Orthopedic boots for people, I presume, who had problems with their limbs, their lower limbs, their arches. And then it just became a fashion item, like a lot of stuff becomes a fashion item. Here comes question 15. Jeez, 12. I'm running ahead of myself. Which doll created by Xavier Roberts became a sensation in the 80s? Was it Cabbage Patch Dolls, Care Bears, Cupcake Dolls, or Lady Lovely Locks? Lady Lovely Locks. Bombity bomb. Lady Lovely Locks. Do you remember Lady Lovely Locks, Arnie?
I don't actually.
Do you not?
No. I don't know. You should have had that.
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if I did or not either, but apparently I do.
Be worried if you did.
No, they were dolls. They weren't. It was nothing sinister. Let's see what you said. Cabbage Patch Dolls. 16 of you went for that. 1 of you thought Cupcakes. 3 thought Care Bears, and nobody thought Lady Lovely Locks. What a shame. That was a TV show. Lady Lovely Locks was a cartoon TV show, and Mattel went on to make dolls based on the series. Care Bears were made in 81. They were designed by Elena Crudshark in Cleveland, Ohio. Designed the bears, and then they were taken up as well and became a sensation. It's amazing these things that do take off. Cupcake Dolls were actually made by Tonka. Tonka Toys made them, and Kenner Toys ended up taking the process of putting them out and making a series of them. They died out fairly quick though. Cupcake dolls didn't really last that long. And Care Bears, wow, they're still going. Cabbage Patch dolls, on the other hand, I'm not sure if you can still get them. Can you? Can you still get them? Don't know. You can get them online. I don't know if they're the originals or remakes or what. Xavier, is it Xavier? Is that how you would? Xavier?
Yeah, Xavier.
Xavier Roberts. Came up with the idea in 78, and they went into mass production in 1982, again when they were taken on by one of the big toy retailers. But there you go, yeah, it was that one, Cabbage Patch dolls. They became absolutely huge, and they actually deliberately made very few of them in 82. They kind of made a shortage of them, and it was deliberate. They only made so many to create a shortage, and all the kids wanted them and went ballistic to get them. And the parents were going here, there and everywhere. It was all over the news. And then what they did was they released a whole batch of them then. Oh, I think it was the first time that ever happened, wasn't it? They've done it since, mind you. I think they do it every bloody year, as far as I know. But they did it. That's what they did to create a shortage. And it went, wow, all over the world. Here's an interesting little question. Mikhail Gorbachev replaced what former Soviet leader back in 1985? Was it Konstantin Cherchenko, Yuri Andropov, Brezhnev, or Khrushchev? That's an interesting one now. They used to be weird names. Cherchenko. But now with the way football has gone, they're no longer, you don't bat an eyelid at names like that now on the back of a shirt. You don't bat an eyelid. You know, Van Dijk, you before you'd be, not now. What did you say? It's split right across. Look at that. Chernenko. 6. Chernenko. 6. Chernenko. Yuri Andropov got 6 as well. 3 of you thought it was Brezhnev. 4 of you thought it was Khrushchev. Well, Nikita Khrushchev, that was the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1963. You remember with JF Kennedy?
Yeah.
The big standoff. So it couldn't have been him. Brezhnev preceded him, so it couldn't be him. Yuri Andropov. Or Cherchenko. It is a weird Chernenko. Yeah, I know, I can't even say his name. But it's a kind of a weird one, isn't it? Anyway, I put down all the answers here, but I don't need to refer to them. I think we'll just tell you. Here we go. Who was right? 6 of you got it. Let's press on. Here is question number 14 of 15 till we go till half time. Who was the first presenter of RTE's The Den? Now, if you're a child of the 80s, you'll remember this. And you'll think, my goodness, was it that long ago? Damien McCall, Ray Darcy, Francis Boylan Jr., Ian Dempsey. You'll think, oh my goodness, don't tell me it was that long ago. And some people remember coming home from school watching it. Do you know that, Arlene? Some people actually remember that.
Yeah, I remember watching it.
Zig and Zag and Zuppy, and then Dustin. And then Dustin was actually supposed to be in it just leading up to Christmas. They were going to eat him. And well, yeah, it was absolutely huge. What did you say? Did you all go for the same answer? You did. Except for one of you thought it was Damien McCall. The rest thought Ian Dempsey. It was called Dempsey's Den. Dempsey's Den. Do you know what it replaced on RT2? What it replaced in the afternoon? Do you know what was on before Dempsey's Den started? Because it seems to be an institution now.
3. Oh no,
that was on RT Radio 1. That was a kind of, or that was on RTE 1. Yeah, it was the other side, wasn't it? Do you not remember? Think about it. I'll tell you in a while. Won't tell you yet.
Was it
I'm not going to tell you yet, okay? You're going to have to think about it. I'll tell you in a while. Have a think about it. Here's 15, and then we go to the break. Great song for the break, by the way. Really good song for the break. I'll tell you more about that in a sec. In 15, released in 1980 by Namco, how many ghosts chased you in Pac-Man? How many ghosts were in the little box in the middle? Remember the little box in the middle? How many ghosts were in that? And they chased you. They chased you around the grid. You do remember. Was it 3, 4, 5 or 6? Do you know what I've got here? I've got a controller. I've got a controller. Do you know why I've got a controller? Do you know why I've got a controller?
Because you've got the game.
I've got the game. Here we go. I was really good at this in the day. And then you go up and you avoid the ghost. Down you go, down you go. And then you can catch him because you get him like that. This is like Twitch for old people. Then you come round. Okay. And you basically have to eat all the dots. I was brilliant at this game. And there's a kind of an act to it. You basically wait until they come down, then you hit one of the little roundy bits. Well, wait till you can... You can catch him and you can finish it. And look how many ghosts there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 ghosts. There's 4 ghosts. So let's see what you said. What did you say? Most of you went for 4. Some thought 3. One, a couple of mixed answers. It was 4 ghosts. We saw 4 ghosts. Great. It was a great game. And you can download those games. They're actually on retro games. You can download them for free and you can play them. You can play them. Just you connect your controller to your PC. You can spend hours on it. And if you go on Twitch, you know what Twitch is? Twitch, the gaming platform. If you go on Twitch, you can you can impress the kids. Okay, let's go to the board and have a look and see how we're doing. D is out in front. Flojo, Tracy, that's because D is old. Flojo, Tracy's up to 3rd. In part 2, the questions are a little bit more mixed, so you'll have plenty of chances to catch up. Collie and Emma are back up into 5th, so they're in contention in the they're in the European places. Who's in the Europa League place? Zoe is at the moment, and Greg is in 4th. Oh, it's a little bit mixed on the board, but you know it's not too bad. I mean, there really isn't a huge amount in it. 1,015 points. D has 979. Flojo, Tracy's got 885. It's all to play for, I think. So, what was I saying about the break? I was saying we've got some good songs. Martin Miller and Mark Lativi. Who is Mark Lativi? He's a Grammy-winning guitar player. All of these really talented people who have little kind of websites and blogs set up at the moment, and this guy is on, I think it's called jamplay.com, and he does guitar lessons online. If you ever wanted to play guitar, Mark Latieri and Martin Miller, here they are in their basement doing a version of Easy Lover by Phil Bailey and Phil Collins. Enjoy this. We'll be back in 5 minutes. I tell you something, he is one heck of a guitarist, that fella, Mark Latieri. And if you have a few minutes, just check out his website, because it's called jamplay.com. I'm going to make sure I got it right, jamplay.com. And it's absolutely brilliant. There's loads of stuff on there, tutorials and all sorts of things. What a guitarist. 3 Grammys he's won for playing guitar, and nobody even knows who he is. Martin Miller on lead vocals. That's their version of Easy Lover, which I think is amazing. I think it's actually better than the original, quite frankly. There are so many great versions out there. We asked you about the Den. What you talking about, Willis? So Arlene, go on, tell us. Tell them all when the Den started.
Oh, the Den. Well, actually, it started off as Dempsey's Den, presented by Ian Dempsey, and it started on the 29th of September, 1986.
1986. And before it started, Lisa was right, it was Bosco. Bus goes on. And before that, it was Bunthuis. How do you pronounce that? Bunthuis. It was an Irish program for learning Irish, and they used to have like a felt board with like felt, and they had these like Cora thingy, and they had these cutouts, and they'd stick them on the board, and it was Bunthuis. Anyway, that was in the really early days before the 80s, children, and the 80s was so much better, much
I
better.
wouldn't remember back that.
No, but Lisa Kennedy would. Gotta go back to my control screen here. Okay, are we ready to crack on for the next one? Well, let's hit the question. Which 80s movie was Alan Rickman's breakthrough feature film role? Was it Die Hard? Was it Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? Was it Weatherby, or The January Man? His breakthrough role. Arlene, you'd know this, wouldn't you? Please tell me you'd know this. Anyway.
Mightn't be the one you think it is.
I'll tell you in a sec. I wish I'd put stuff in order. What I do is I kind of, but I go, that'd be a great question, and I get the answer and I go. So there we are. So let's see what you said. Most of you went for Die Hard. Unsurprisingly, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was in the 90s. Because the theme tune to it, Everything I Do for You, Bryan Adams, was kind of number one for most of 1991, so I think it was 1991. Weatherby wasn't really a big role for him. I don't think he was even credited in Weatherby, and in January Man he was, but it wasn't a massive role. He was Hans Gruber in Die Hard, and it's Christmas when Hans Gruber falls off Nakatomi Plaza. You know it's Christmas. It was, of course, Die Hard back in the 80s with Bruce Willis, and he was brilliant in the role. I always preferred him actually in as Professor Snape in Harry Potter. That was my favourite Alan Rickman. That's 16. Here's 17. What primetime TV soap starring Joan Collins and Linda Evans popularised shoulder pads? You've got to write your answer for this one, so careful on the old spelling. Just write it down. It was a popular TV soap, and that would have been around 83, and it was on RTE as well. It was on at 9:25, I think, on RTE1, as far as I remember. Not that I watched it, but there you are. And it was it had a spin-off series as well called the Colbys. Remember that? Well, look at that. We have Neighbours. One of you said Neighbours. One of you said Falcon Crest. Now that's a good answer, actually. Falcon Crest. That was the ex-wife
Jane Wyman.
Jane Wyman, ex-wife of Ronald Reagan. Dynasty was probably what we were looking for, though. Let's see where you're right. You were right. You were absolutely spot on. So it was Dynasty, or Dynasty, as we would call it. Now, the Merseyside FA Cup final of 1986. I want to know the names of the team captains. Were they Mark Lawrenson and Gary Stevens? Were they Alan Hansen and Kevin Radcliffe? Mark Radcliffe. Was it Ronnie Whelan and Peter Reid? Or Kenny Dalglish and Gary Lineker? They were the team captains at the Merseyside FA Cup final 1986. Okay. Question 18. I have them all highlighted just in case I needed to reflect somewhat. Actually, it was Everton against Liverpool, as you can imagine, and I think Everton were playing Aston Villa tonight, as far as I know. I think it ended 1-1. I'm kind of hoping it did, because if that's the case, I think West Ham might be safe. Kind of split. Kenny Dalglish and Gary Lineker, the front men. Gary Lineker played for... Sorry, say that again.
Did Gary Lineker ever play for a Liverpool club?
He played for Everton.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Leicester. And Tottenham.
He played for Leicester.
And then he went to Tottenham. You only know he played for Leicester because when they won the title, what did he have to do?
He said he would go and present Match of the Day in his shorts.
Exactly.
And he did. Fair play to
him.
He
did. Because he played for Leicester. Yeah. He started his career at Leicester before making a big money move to Everton. It was Alan Hansen and Kevin Radcliffe. Did you get it right, Arlene?
I did.
How did you know?
I just knew Alan Hansen.
Alan Hansen
played.
was a defender, and probably one of the best defenders in the world. Well, in Scotland.
There was a programme on about him the other night.
There was a programme because he
That
retired
gave
from
me a
TV
clue.
or something, didn't he? He retired from TV. And Kevin Ratcliffe. They were the captains at the Merseyside FA Cup final back in 1986, which was won by... Guess, Arlene. Guess. Who won it?
Liverpool?
Yeah. Okay. Here's question number 18. Bustiers, lace gloves and boy toy jewellery were all the rage thanks to what music video by Madonna? Was it Who's That Girl? Was it Like a Virgin, Papa Don't Preach, or Into the Groove? Answer now. Answer as soon as you can. That's 19 of 30. Actually looks like a nice day today. It was a nice day earlier on today. We might still get to go for our ramble, you know. We might do. We're on question 19. Where are we looking here? We're looking at Like a Virgin. Most of you thought she was sailing around, was it Venice, on a gondola? Like a Virgin. Papa Don't Preach, which was a hit just before she got married to Sean Penn, I think. Into the Groove in the 80s, and Who's That Girl from the movie of the same name. Let's see. What was it? It was Like a Virgin, her breakthrough song back in 84. Bustiers, lace gloves and boy toy jewellery. Don't ask, I don't know. 1980, David Bowie, which of his songs instructed his listeners to turn to the left, turn to the right, write your answer. Shouldn't take long. You've got enough time to type it in. Just be careful on the spelling. You know the way this thing doesn't understand incorrect spelling. Just doesn't get it. I've probably got a creaky chair. Where are we? What are we on? 20. Didn't he look great in the 80s, David Bowie? Didn't he? He looked so well in the 80s. He just did. Fashion, said 3 of you. Let's Dance, said 1 of you. Dancing in the Street, which was the one he did with Mick Jagger on Live Aid back in 85. Let's Dance, spelled slightly differently. And Pineapple. No idea what that is. Pineapple. I'm going to have to take your word for it before we check it out, but I don't think, but fashion, turn to the left. Fashion, turn to the right. Fashion. Would you have got that, Arlene?
Yes.
Yes.
I did get it.
You did get it?
I did.
Excellent. Only 3 of you managed to do it. Very few actually got to answer in that segment. And I wonder why. That seems a bit strange. Let's have a look at the board and see where we're getting on. Dee still out in front. Flojo in second. Daisy in third. And Tracy in fourth. I want to win. Where are you? You're up to 18th. But still nowhere close to winning. You really, really, really are running out of questions. 10 questions to go. And Greg is there in 5th. Colleen and Emma still down in 7th. You've still got a bit of time to try and catch Dee. Although she is good at this. She likes the 80s. She'd like it to be the 80s if she had a choice. But wouldn't we all? Yeah. The 80s were great though, weren't they? Were the 80s great? The music was great. The guys could wear pink. I could wear pink, and it was fashionable. Remember that, Arlene?
Yeah.
And we had lovely little boots. What were they called? Little Peter Pan boots, weren't they? Peter Pan boots. Remember them, Arlene?
I do.
Peter Pan boots. I used to have a pair.
Yeah.
I used to have a pair of them.
Me too.
Kind of. I used to wear boots, cowboy boots and things. And we looked so good. We just looked so great. The turnips and the what?
Baggy trousers with the turnips on them.
Oh, I thought you meant madness. Here is 21. Which 1980s advert starred Bernie and Rose Violet? Was it Pledge floor polish? Was it Berger paint? Was it Jumbo's? Was it Three Hands washing up liquid? Bernie and Rose Violet. Do you remember them? Do you remember them, Arlene?
I do. Sadly.
Do you? Sadly, you do. Would you believe that ad was out 1982 to 1983?
I just barely remember it.
38 years ago. I was shocked when I figured out it was from then. Can we see what you said? Floor polish 8 of you thought that. Berger Paint. Berger, you're looking good. Was 3. 4 of you thought Jumbos, and 4 of you thought 3 hands washing up liquid. Who did 3 hands washing up with liquid? Wasn't it David Kelly did it? And he was at the sink, and he had somebody else's hand come in from behind, helping him wash up, and it was like an extra hand is always, you know. So, you see, there were simpler times, the 80s. They were simpler times when he was in Robin's Nest at the time. Let's have a look and see.
His lordship's family insist on Jumbos, the better value bathroom tissue.
Jumbos for that extra softness, strength and length and long. How long would you say these Jumbos are, Rose Violet?
About as long as it took you to get up here, Bernie.
Now you know. Do you remember the ad? You'd probably look at that and go, yeah, kind of, yeah, I remember the ad, It was Bernie and Rose Violet doing Jumbos, bathroom toilet tissue. And Bernie was played by Twink, Rose Violet was played by Twink. Bernie was Jonathan Ryan. Jonathan Ryan?
Yeah.
Jonathan Ryan, great voice, Jonathan Ryan. Still has, actually, does a lot of voiceover work. You'd know his voice anywhere. He's really, really good. That's 21. Here's 22. 22. Morton Harkett is the lead singer of which 80s band? And they're still going, and he still looks quite incredible, actually. Is it Aha, the Scorpions, Sonic Youth, or A Flock of Seagulls? Morton Harkett. Lead singer with which 80s band? They were incredibly lucky band. You remember why, don't you, Irene? Incredibly lucky. They had.
Oh, there was an accident.
No, not quite. No. It was actually the video they had to Take On Me was done by a young artist who did this.
Oh yes,
it was like pencil drawing,
and they came live.
It was done. It was the first time it had ever been seen. And it was actually a young American artist who came up with that idea and offered it around. Nobody took it up except them. And the video was a sensation. Mind you, the song wasn't bad either, when you think about it. 15 of you said Aha, and 1 of you thought the Scorpions, Sonic Youth 2. I have no idea who the lead singer of Sonic Youth is. I know they were kind of ishy, biggie-ish. And A Flock of Seagulls, I just remember from bands reunited back in 2003 when they got back together again, the brothers. Flock of Seagulls, 1 of you thought, but you were pretty much right. 15 of you got it right. Morton Harkett. Morton is, of course, the lead singer of Aha. That's 22. Here's 23. 23, on November 20th, 1985, Microsoft released the very, 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 very first version of what was it? Windows Vista? Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Windows. We were only talking about this last night, myself and Arlene, because we were talking about the war that ensued between Apple and Microsoft in the 80s. It wasn't really a war, it was just kind of the technology war, as it were, and how Apple Macintosh had kind of the whole market taken over. They'd cornered the market back in the early 80s with their laptops, and then all of a sudden arrived on the scene Microsoft. Bang! And boy, things changed. What did you say? Windows, 10 of you. 6 of you went for Word, 3 for Office, and nobody went for Vista. Vista actually was 2007, so it wasn't that. Word came out in 1983, would you believe? Came out a bit earlier. 2000 was the first time we saw Microsoft Office, and in 1985, Windows 1.0 was launched with great acclaim onto the market. 1985 made huge inroads into the market and really shook things up. Well done for getting that one. Here's question 24. 24. Had to have Jack in here. In what year? Just a year. Type the year is all I need. In what year did Jack Charlton become Republic of Ireland manager? Just had to put in a little bit of a tribute to Jack because of the week that's in it. And there he is. We had some great memories. Actually, in the first Back to the 80s quiz, we actually did the Euro 88, remember that? Ronnie Whelan's goal? We put that in the first one, but didn't want to repeat the questions, but I did want to pay tribute to Jack. So I just asked, when did he become manager? Let me just see what the answers we have. Gosh, one of you thinks 1990 because of Italian 90, I presume. 86, 31%, only 5 of you though. 88, 2 of you. 87, 1985, 1989. So kind of a split really. It was 86. Somebody said 84 and somebody thought 82. 82. The manager back in 82 was actually Johnny Giles, I think, wasn't it? Back in 82, and then we had his own hand. When I met Johnny Giles, he was actually telling me about taking the Ireland job. Took it as a favour. He was player manager. It was 1986. Where are we going next? Let's go to 25. We'll have a look at the board. Who is the lead singer of the 80s band The Specials? I had those questions actually very close together. I really should have spaced them a bit more. Gray McPherson, Terry Hall, Douglas Trendle, Roger Charlery. You probably know who all of these people are. I bet you do. You do too, don't you, Charlikins? Who all these guys are?
No.
No, you do.
No.
You do.
I do. I think I know the answer, but I don't know all the others.
Do you not? Well, let's see what you said. Most of you went for Terry Hall. He is the lead singer of The Specials, is he? And the Fun Boy 3. One of you thought Gray McPherson, who is Suggs from Madness.
Oh.
Shares his birthday with me.
Okay. I didn't know that.
That's my claim to fame. Same birthday as Suggs.
Not the same age though.
No, he's younger. Question or number 3, actually. Douglas Trendle. Do you know who he is?
No.
Buster Bloodvessel. Bad Manners.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Lip Up Fat Tea. You remember him? And Roger Charlie from The Beat. He's Rankin Roger. That's who he is. So the answer had to be Terry Hall. Him of The Specials. The Specials are a very highly rated 80s band, really. Anybody who likes ska would prefer them to Madness or anybody else. They like The Specials. Yeah, I just know that from gigs. Nothing, no other reason. 26. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous. Lyrics from what 83 song? Is it Every Breath You Take? Together We Are Beautiful, Total Eclipse of the Heart, or Wherever I Lay My Hat? That's My Home. That shouldn't pose you too many questions, I don't think. Or questions, problems, is what I meant to say. Problems. It shouldn't cause you too many problems. Did we have a look at the board after 25?
No.
No, we do it now, so we'll have a race to the finish. Let's have a quick gander and see what you said. 95% of you saying Total Eclipse. That was also an advert, but I don't think it was the 80s. The ad for Jaffa Cakes. That wasn't the 80s, was it, Elly? It was 90s, I think. You remember Full Moon, Half Moon.
Oh yeah.
Total
no,
Eclipse.
That was 90s.
Yeah, it was Bonnie Tyler. Bonnie Tyler, the lady from Wales. Discovered in a club in Swansea by her manager. Let's see where the standings are. Dia still out in front. Oh, I shouldn't have looked. I'm getting depressed now. Which football club did Michael Knighton make a 20 million takeover bid for in 1989? Was it Everton, Aston Villa, Manchester United, Arsenal? Michael Knighton. What club was it? He made a 20 million pound. That was actually a lot of money back then. It was a huge amount of money. I mean, in today's language, in today's terms, it would be an absolute steal. I mean, Manchester United, which most of you said, and Aston Villa, and Arsenal, and Everton are worth probably in the hundreds of millions, if not billions, at this stage. 10 of you thought it was Manchester United. 3 thought Villa. 2 of you thought Everton, and 4 of you thought it was Arsenal. Nobody said Carlisle. Carlisle was the team he took over in 1992. And Michael Knighton, believe it or not, he made a lot of money on property in the 1980s, buying and selling property in the 1980s. And in 1989 he approached the then owner Martin Edwards and offered him a 10 million payoff himself and 10 million to buy a seat on the board and get is a seat on the board of Manchester United, which is the answer, and eventually take over the club. And he went out onto the pitch in full training gear and played football in front of the media. It was the most weird thing that you'd ever seen, and that was back in 1989. And most Manchester United fans looked on it in total disbelief, thinking it was a complete joke, and then the Glaziers bought the club sometimes later. So he bought a seat on the board. The Glaziers took over in 2005, actually. That was only a recent history. So there we are. That's 27. It was Man United. Here is 28. Which actor took over from Roger Moore in the role of James Bond, making his first appearance in The Living Daylights in 1987? Was it Timothy Dalton, Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig? Which one of those guys was it? So there we go. There we go. Do you like the 80s music though? 80s music is just so good. That's why we still play so much of it. What did you say? Most of you went for Timothy Dalton. A couple of you went for Sean Connery, Brosnan, and nobody said Daniel Craig because he's the current Bond. Brosnan came along in the 90s. He was originally supposed to get the role that Timothy Dalton did, but he was tied up at the time in the 80s in Remington Steele. And he was under contract with the studio. They wouldn't release him, so he got very upset about that, but there was nothing he could do. He had to wait his turn and wait out his contract. They wanted an astronomical amount of money to release him, but he just had to stay. It was Timothy Dalton who did, I think, 2 James Bond movies. I'll know when Vincent gives me back my DVDs, but I think it was 2. I think it was 2. Living Daylights. Anybody remember the other one? I think it was only 2. I think he only did 2. Bless your heart. I always remember that line from one of his movies. Here's 29. Who did Cher have a brief affair with in 1985 following a White House event benefiting people with dyslexia? Was it Robert Downey Jr., Sean Penn, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt? The answer might surprise you. Actually, the answer won't surprise you because most of you probably will get this, regardless of what I write down. So, in 1989, who did she have a brief affair with? 85, it was, sorry, 85, yeah. Robert Downey Jr. 7 of you thought him. I'd say he's had an affair with everybody. Would you say, Elly? I'd say it's pretty much everyone. I don't know. I mean, who has Robert Downey Jr. not had an affair with? Would probably be better, you know. Sean Penn was in 85. He was with Madonna and he married her a year later. In 3 of you thought Tom Cruise. 1 of you thought Brad Pitt. Well, they met.
All much younger than her anyway.
They're all younger than her. They actually met, believe it or not, at Sean Penn and Madonna's, a party given by the 2 of them. That's where they met initially. And then they hooked up again at a White House event benefiting people with dyslexia because they both have dyslexia. It was Tom Cruise.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Tom Cruise.
I didn't know Tom Cruise.
There you go now. It's an interesting little fact. He was only a boy. Only a little fella. Finally, another Tom Cruise question, which you would have seen at the beginning of the quiz because I made a complete mess and not putting in the timing properly. But you have to write your answer for this one. And it is, sorry Goose, but it's time to buzz the tower is a line from which 80s movie? And I've already given you a clue. And I showed you the question earlier, so I've been really fair to you. So you just type your answer as quickly as you can. It's all about getting as many points now as you can to try and close the gap. Close the gap by getting as many points as you possibly can. Type the answer, send in, submit, and let's see how you do. You should get this right. Sorry? Neophyte gun. Oh, sweet Lord. Honestly, this is why I get depressed. Top Gun. And only 14 of you put in your answer. That is so depressing. With all my answers.